Okay, so my picture I put up was that train coming around the mountain where if you look out the window, you're not going to see the train tracks. You're not going to see anything but
honest to God, if you're in Europe, that's not all that weird.
And Pat Boulay says, it's okay. They've got seatbelts on those.
On the train? You don't understand, sir. We're Americans. We're used to big old honking roads.
Yeah, and I'm a flatlander, by the way.
Which I found out actually, Jamaica, right? When we had to leave the airport and go to the whatever the place was we were going.
Mm-hmm.
And they have tiny little narrow roads, and we're on what looked to be a reasonably standard-sized bus.
It's like the one going to Young Life Camp in Colorado.
Nope, that wasn't as bad. Well, maybe, because you might have to go up a hill.
Yeah.
I first noticed it when we were with the kids with Eric in Norway.
Okay.
Tiny roads, large vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I learned something very important.
Which is?
This helps.
I have done that. I've actually put mats over my face and laid down in the back seat.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to just lean back. You see, we're in a bus, right? Excuse me, I'm leaning back now because I'm polite, if nothing.
Yeah, and I don't want to freak out. I really don't want to freak out.
And Robin's like, wow.
Yeah.
We're like this far from the edge. Don't be telling me that. Yeah. Why do you think I'm not looking?
Ian, we were going up on Trail Ridge Road, Colorado, right?
So your brother really didn't messenger you I
don't think so.
When I opened it up, right, it says Chris Combs, and it says, yep, we've all had a work day like this. And you hear these two guys chatting, and it goes real fast. You hear a couple words. They're driving in a car, a couple words. Raccoon jumps on the hood of their car, and they're like, whoa, what's the... And Raccoon looks back, puts his arms up, and just flops off the front of the car.
That's pretty good.
So I wrote back to Chris, yeah, we've all been there.
Have we not?
We've all been the driver, and we've all been the raccoon.
Okay, as long as we're here, let's...
Your brother has a sick, calm sense of humor. Which,
let's fly into mailbag,
unfortunately, Verkenises can interpret and appreciate.
Exactly.
So I apologize now to my grandsons and granddaughters and their offspring.
I don't apologize to any of them.
If I were you, I'd go into Witsec so the Combs can't find you.
So,
but Eric kind of likes you.
Yeah. Well, I know why.
You're rich? No. Well, now I'm out of luck.
I put up with him very well. I play with him. He's fun.
Well, see, that's what oh God, he's so like his mother. I'm averting my eyes because I shouldn't be lying to his face to right in. His entire life is spent looking for a response.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately, he's not warm-blooded like his dad.
Oh, okay.
I've had a few experiences where the push for a response got, the wrong agitated, I've heard someone response.
Yep.
But I'm not an idiot. Sooner or later, I figured that out.
Yep.
He's 40. He's 40 now.
Yep.
He hasn't figured that out yet because his favorite job was to make his tiny little baby nieces cry. All except for Riley.
Who wouldn't do it.
Oh, he'd be an ass. She'd just look at him. Walk away. I mean, we're talking 3 years old.
I love this girl.
Now she's more upset. Of course, she's 16.
Yeah, well, there's more to be upset about.
Well, there is. She's had a lot of accumulating.
So, you know of Ernest Hemingway. You've heard of him.
Is he related to Molly Hemingway?
Oh,
Molly and Mark?
Probably.
They're both writers, kind of. Well, they are writers.
Okay. They got to be then.
I don't like Hemingway's writing, but I like their writing.
Well, I like his writing. Yeah, I like his writing. Okay. Yeah.
The Old Man in the Sea. Guy goes out in a boat, eventually dies. Well,
wonderful.
Who'd have saw that coming?
Anyway,
I do like the fact he had affairs with anyone.
Well, yes, including several rocks out there in Spain when he was fighting against Franco.
No, because then he had the reporter chick.
Oh, that's right. He did.
Who might have been weirder than he was. It's hard to tell.
Well, they used to have boxing matches. That was foreplay.
Yeah, I'd bet on her. She looked like first picture I saw of her, I said, wow, that looks like Mom. And I realized it's the hairstyle from then. So, he's survived. He's documented. No, he's dead. He has not survived.
Hang on.
He's not a ghost. He's gone.
He survived various life or death scenarios
before
he actually succumbed.
Yeah. Sooner.
So,
hang on.
Back to the story we were.
Yes, where were we?
Ernest Hemingway surviving life or death scenarios, one of which involved a 2-day trek through the jungle. After surviving count them, two separate.
Nope, sorry, it's this one. Yeah. This one, not this one. This one gets me in trouble.
2 separate plane crashes.
On the same day?
The first reported that Hemingway walked. The first crash was the result of an emergency landing.
Okay.
Afterward, Hemingway and his wife.
All an emergency landing is a controlled crash.
Right. Hemingway and his wife spent the night in the jungle. The very next day.
Why do I feel there should be a placard?
This is like in a 24-hour period, so maybe in the same day, if you want to count it that way. Next day, they boarded another flight that also crashed and caught fire.
Did they think maybe they shouldn't, I don't know, fly?
It's reported that Hemingway walked out of the jungle with a bundle of bananas and a bottle of gin. Injured, but alive.
Why does that sound about right? That does.
It really does.
If the mythos is anywhere close to true.
Yeah. This is Ernie.
Okay, speaking of celeb types.
Yeah.
Did you see Gallagher's has a little problem? If you don't know Gallagher's, it's a famous New York restaurant.
Okay. Right. Okay. I thought you were going to talk about Street. A comedian.
Oh, no, I love Gallagher. I loved Gallagher. And his sledgehammer and annihilating 3 rows of his people who paid money to be there. Anyway, inside of Gallagher's, you have seen photos of celebrities who have frequented the landmark over the... Okay. I think it's like been around almost 100 years now.
Okay. Okay.
Right? I mean, in the 20s, 30s, 40s, it was there.
Yep.
One of the signed photos is of Perry Como.
Hang on one sec. 20s, 30s, and 40s.
Well, if it started in the 20s, it'd be about 100 years old.
I was going to say, I was. It made me think.
You're only 12
or 2020s. I actually had that thought in my head. In the not too distant future, if you say 20s and 30s, we're going to be going.
I am not going to be around long enough to put the 30s in. I'm just telling you.
Millennium.
I've got an investment here. I figure if I can get Joey to school, I'm good.
Okay, keep going.
Where was I now? Gallagher's 100 years. They put up pictures of the celebs. Perry Como's picture's a problem.
Why?
Now, if you know Perry Como, he was the bee's knees.
He was quite the crooner.
He, Sinatra, Bing Crosby.
Yeah. If you would have gone whack, 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 I would have said Bing Crosby too.
So would Norm. His side photo of Como, who was amazingly popular, and still, even when we were kids,
yes,
was still all over television with Dino and those guys. But Gallagher's has been forced to add a couple of small disclaimers to the frame of Perry's photo. Now, for those who know Perry's reputation, he and Andy Williams, when they walk down the street is cleaner than when they started.
Yes.
They would pick up all the garbage. They would smile sweetly. Squirrels would love them.
And it wouldn't attack them like they do in New York.
They had as Sinatra was the bad boy.
Yep.
These guys Como was a good guy.
Yep.
Right. He was a sweetheart. Unfortunately, apparently his photo has some sort of vague resemblance to Jeffrey Epstein, who did not commit suicide in 2019.
I got to bleep that. Doggone it.
What? Who did not punch his own ticket.
There we go.
In 2019. Ask Hillary. One of the little notes says, no, this is not Jeffrey Epstein. The other one reads, this is Perry Como. According to the Gallagher owner, Dean Pohl, he said hundreds of customers are asking about the photo. And he said it's constant. It's not just, like 1 or 2 a day. It's all day. Every day.
Every day. Nope. Sorry.
He also said
Perry Como.
Epstein wasn't a customer.
Thankfully.
Which, honestly, I believe, because Gallagher's at this point is an older crowd.
Speaking of unwanted
class
guests.
Was okay. Am I getting kicked out again?
No.
Oh.
You're going to love this.
I doubt
it's just so quick.
Every time you say that, I don't.
Hurricane Debbie was wreaking havoc in the South a few days ago.
I love this. Wait, no, that was
with Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, its biggest targets.
Sounds like a band.
The storm system brought a little something extra to the Sunshine State per AP. It was washing all kinds of flotsam and jetsam up onto the beaches, and 70 pounds of cocaine worth about $1 million.
At what point the Sinaloa cartel went, there it is.
That's where we put it. The coke was discovered
you guys not to leave it in the ocean, but no, do you listen?
By a good Samaritan.
Later, 2 bodies washed up.
Who in turn called the authorities. It turned up on the unnamed beach in 25 separate packages.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on.
The cocaine's origin isn't clear.
Trying to carry that?
Actually, I think it is pretty clear where the cocaine came from.
The ocean.
Yeah. Though the packages all featured a red-shaped V logo superimposed on top of a black rectangle. There we go. That's one way to interdict the cocaine trade. Let's hope that
just there are more, in the ocean,
more tropical storms.
And every hurricane season will be.
Yeah, I think we're in good shape.
Yeah, but they'd have to set their payment plan so differently. Dear Sears, we're going to have to discuss how I pay the bill. Signed, cocaine guy. Does
Sears even exist anymore? Do we have a Sears in town?
No, we don't.
I don't think we do either anymore.
Crossroads, right? The big center in St. Cloud was a huge shopping place in the middle part of the state of Minnesota. And it's been sold twice now, I think. It's punching its own ticket, dropping its own sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a cost to running a huge mall.
Yep.
Ask the folks at Mall of America. Unfortunately, Mall of America is now a place anyone will go because it's got other stuff.
Yep.
We just, Crossroads has stores, but at the beginning, it was like an indoor strip mall because you were indoors when you went in the stores.
Yep.
But it was only one straight line.
Yep.
Shields was all scrunched into this itty bitty weeny store, which was so cool. You had Woolworths and Walgreens right next to each other. Fannie Farmer was across a tiny little hall from Walgreens. And if you walk down that tiny little hall towards the exit,
Farmer's Fannie.
Best restaurant ever.
Oh.
Anyway, both ends were anchored by JCPenney's and Sears.
Oh, yeah.
And I, of course, being very bright and a young man with a brain, said, well, I know if one of these goes out of business, it'll be Penny's.
And
one for lack of trying.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you saw the Duluth News-Tribune.
I don't see much of the
recently.
Duluth News-Tribune anymore. We had an argument once, and
my hopes got so high for a minute there.
Oh, see,
because 2 of our legislators in Washington, Klobuchar and Smith, recommended a national loon center for federal funding, and I thought, huzzah, we're going to get Congress out of there.
No, I mean the bird, dude.
That's the problem. I read the article and was so let down.
Yeah.
I was just...
Hey, but now our governor might be vice president.
Yeah, well, anything to get him out of Minnesota.
No, you're going to put him on the whole country?
Oh, come on. Actually,
dude, he looked docile when he was governor, and look what he did. Other than
he missed
neighborhoods to burn, be pillaged, and
he didn't call the National Guard out quick enough, and
didn't they destroy a precinct? And then they wanted to defund the.
Yep, and then he handled COVID really badly. Those 2 things, I think, he pretty much blew. But he seems to be sort of
on the plus side.
He's an affable sort.
That's the plus side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care if he's affable. I'm sure Hitler was a sweetie when he was. Mussolini was very charismatic.
We got there fast.
Mark Dayton was a nice guy. How'd he do?
Yeah.
Not well in the Senate, and even.
I think Governor Goofy was worse.
Hard to tell. He didn't have anything major to destroy.
Well, so I think he's a pretty good guy. I wouldn't probably
Dayton.
No, well, Dayton. Dayton's insane. But current governor, I'd probably get along with him if he was my neighbor.
And besides, you could bury the body.
So
not that he'd be dead for any reason.
No,
he would just need a body like a squirrel.
But yeah, honestly, speaking of this whole thing, this is what Vice President Harris needs. She needs somebody who has much more executive experience than she does, because she's got no experience.
Dude,
she's horrible live.
Dude.
He at least can speak.
Dude.
What?
An extreme left-wing socialist type just chose an extreme left-wing socialist type.
I don't think he's that far left. I honestly don't. And I don't think she's that far left as a prosecutor. I think they make noises to keep the leftists happy, but I don't think
she raised to free the guys who burnt down the precinct.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens.
In fact, the governor couldn't pick up the phone to call the National Guard, although we're beginning to find out why. They were probably crabby at him for leaving just before they were deployed.
He'd been there 24 years. He can leave whenever he wants. They can shut up about it.
No.
They can. He decided to go into politics, so you resign.
So every time in crunch time, he seems to fall apart badly.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
But we want him in the White House.
I think that's pretty good. You got anything else on your plate?
God, no. Now I'm depressed.
So let's go over to the comments. Apropos, this is True Really News, Mailbag episode 142. We had that Australian hockey player who decided to get the finger amputated so he could join the Olympics.
Is he a hockey player?
He was a field hockey player, wasn't he?
That's it. Field hockey. Yep.
Field hockey. But they're the same animals, right?
No.
So
field hockey players are sissies. They can't get their throats sliced open.
Our man in Liverpool, Patrick Reed, says, so the Australian hockey player gave the Olympics the finger?
Good one, Mom.
And from D. Combsify, my son Drew, no relation. Well, it's either fingers or teeth. It's like, yep.
Brooke Henderson is a lady golfer, right? Very good. She's a pretty good lady golfer. Her dad once told her when she was playing goalie, because she's a Canadian.
Okay.
You know, dear, I think men prefer their women with all their teeth. I thought that was pretty. Oh, don't get all 2024 on me here.
No.
That's a funny line. Although Shelby was a goaltender for a lot of years.
And joke. That's what I'm not doing.
She has all her twofers.
And good for her.
Don't start with me. Now we're next. Is there a next?
Apropos of This Is True Really News, episode 884 from my brother Chris Combs, no relation.
That's the one right after 883?
Yes.
Remember
now,
vaguely.
Here's the thing. Mm-hmm. He stopped watching the show to call me to tell me this.
Was that important?
Apparently. So, but he said, I left 2 comments, and the second one you'll see will come up first, so make sure you don't get that screwed up. Here's the problem, Christopher. He said, I tried to edit the first one, to add this to it.
Yep.
And
didn't work. No.
So he added a PS. Here's the problem. The first one doesn't exist. I've only got the second one up here.
Is that kind of like I'm going to the kitchen. What for? I have no idea.
No idea. And when I get there, I'll figure it out.
And I never do. I have to always walk back to where I started, which...
This is all about the snakes in the pants again. I mean, China is so weird. The guy sneaking in with hundreds of snakes in his pants, and they were all in little bags.
Yep.
And so on and so forth. He said their penalty, if I'm remembering what he told me properly, their penalty should be having hundreds of snakes stuffed in their pants. And P.S., the bottoms of the trousers should be cinched tightly around the ankles first. Let them loose.
I like that idea.
Yeah, there you go.
Am I a bad person?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I'm tired of hearing that on TV shows, by the way. You know what? Even though you massacred an entire village, you're not a bad person.
Yes, you are. By definition, that's bad person. That's in anybody's book.
Wow.
Apropos, This Is True Really News, episode 8.
You've made some mistakes. No, those aren't mistakes. Those are federal felonies and war crimes.
Evil.
Anyway, go ahead.
Episode 885 from OldFatMan. Hey, dude. He has seen the video of the double amputee chasing the short dude. He said, that's funny as heck. It's a must-see. I love it when people can make fun of themselves. Love and hugs to you and yours, both of you guys. And I think by that he means you and your shortness.
And you and your guys.
There. I like that.
That's scary.
All right.
Oh, wait, you do have guys. Never mind.
Yeah. Apropos, this is True Really News, episode 886 from our man in Liverpool, Patrick Reed. Tony.
Mom.
Your literary reference was very sharp. You are the fountainhead of all knowledge.
Ayn Rand.
I know that, but I can't remember what your literary reference
I have no idea. Was I awake? Was I sober? Was I
purportedly. And I get the Fountainhead. Well, I read it. I just mentioned it to somebody. Said, you got to read the Fountainhead. It's fascinating.
Had to be, there was a name that came up.
Oh, okay.
Which I think was from Atlas Shrugged.
Oh, no, because you said somebody has to shrug.
Yeah.
Because Atlas was mentioned and you said somebody must shrug.
Somebody
and then
needs
you were
to
after
shrug.
me. Yeah, Fountainhead of all knowledge. Now, that's a good quip. Nice job, Patrick.
I'm not an Ayn Rand fan, but hey.
Well, nor am I.
But like the
Fountainhead's my favorite of her books.
See, I like them all because they're big and are great doorstops.
Not We the Living. We the Living is short.
Hey.
Yeah, sorry. We the Living isn't as long as the Fountainhead.
Thank you.
And if you want to get
people just throwing short around like it's no big deal.
If you really want to get depressed, this is her.
Thanks. I want to do that on purpose.
You read We the Living because it's a take on what happened in her country when the Marxists took over. And the end is just the whole thing is a pall came over me. It was awful.
2 words, Venezuela, just if you want to see what it's kind of like.
Yeah, it's coming apart.
Yeah, even with all the oil in the world, they can't find a way to not starve their people.
And their electrical grid.
Byproduct.
Of that good old Marxist routine. Apropos, this is True Really News, episode 886 from Chris Combs, my brother, no relation.
Is that that's not the sign of the devil. That's 666.
Yes.
What's 888, I suppose? That should be like...
It's an area code.
You turn them... A lot of phone numbers have 888.
The exploding watermelons.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a great line.
We're back to Gallagher.
Yeah. No. Go further. That fermented watermelon exploded like a whale.
For those of us who are older and saw the original pictures in the paper. Wasn't there video that was on TV too?
There was. And remember, you could hear the plop, 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 and then people are going, ow, in the background. And
suddenly they realize they should run because if they blow things up, they come down. It's a gravity thing.
And then a big chunk of the whale flips over and crushes a car in the parking lot.
That was good.
Oh, we've covered that thing I don't know how many times. It's a great story.
CGI that as well as it was live.
It was so funny the first time we watched it.
And the second
Did that guy just say ow?
Actually, the first several hundred times I watched it, it was
spectacular.
Why do you say ow? Because I think a half a ton of whale blubber just got him.
And who was it? Dave Barry covered it. And his story about it was great because he says they decided that the DOT should take care of it because they're in charge of big things.
Which, when you think about it, California, right?
Yeah. No, Oregon. I think it was Oregon.
California light.
Yeah, there you go. Pretty much. Hey, let's go on to the silliness.
This wasn't?
I'm dead serious about everything we just did.
You're not dead serious. Because now you'll have to edit that because...
Oh, yeah. I'm my sandwich on the floor serious.
Attaboy.